Oh, what a day. Hi guys, and welcome to the Royal Agricultural University. These are my rooms for the next couple of days at least, because I'm down here in a place called Cirencester. I travelled down on the train yesterday and was pleasantly surprised, I have to say, because often when you hear royal something, especially when it comes to an institution, it'll be really fancy in public areas and like a military barracks in private areas. I've had that experience a couple of times now. You just go, "Oh, that sounds nice," and then it's not. But actually, they've found a really nice balance here. It's plain. I won't lie. It's fairly Spartan, but it's got it where it counts. It's got a desk. It's got some nice storage. The bed is super comfortable, even though it's basically a plank with a very thin mattress on it. I'm approving. I approve this message. I approve of this particular setup. It's good. Also comes with lovely, lovely food. Actually, it's not restaurant food, but it's a good, solid sort of hotel canteen experience. But obviously, I'm not here for the accommodation, so it was a good, fairly early start, and we were in the van and off to the site. Filming with a project called REFIT, which stands for Resituating Europe's First Towns. This is a Europe-wide project which is re-examining certain Iron Age oppida, the singular of oppida being oppidum. Now, oppida are sort of certainly pre-Roman, urban-like areas, basically sort of large villages, small towns, often surrounded by earthworks. And in this particular instance, this project is trying to tie the oppida in with the landscape that surrounds it. And the whole notion being really that actually problems that linked with agriculture, linked with protecting wildlife, protecting heritage, of course, and also ongoing archaeological research should have more of a unified focus. This in particular has interest in terms of legislation, but also just in the way that people work together or should work together in these landscapes. It's, I suppose, taking a landscape view as opposed to viewing a historical landscape as filled with historical places that aren't really connected. So it's a really interesting project, and it's interesting also because, for example, today it really sort of hit home. I've always known this, but it sort of hit home that this project is manifestly not looking at the archaeology, and that's what makes it really special. For example, the site that we're on today is a place called Greystones Farm. And Greystones Farm is on the site of a place called Salmonsbury Camp, which officially I think is known as an Iron Age fortified enclosure, but it's one of these sort of oppidum type sites. And because it is recognised and it is a listed site, actually doing archaeological work there is discouraged. So they've turned that into a virtue in this project by looking at the landscape around it specifically. So none of the areas that we were digging test pits today, or that people were doing augering today, actually had any archaeology. In fact, if they found archaeology, it would have been a bit of a frustrating thing, because they'd have to cease work essentially, or certainly it would change the project structure. Instead, they were looking for signs of alluvial material, so floodplains, this kind of thing, old grains and seeds from the past, trying to understand how the landscape developed around the oppidum. It's late in the day and I'm very hot. Around the oppidum as archaeological work that also has these other facets to it as well. So taking advantage of the research that's being done to understand the Iron Age, the prehistoric landscape, for example, all the way back down to the Neolithic, I think they've got evidence for on this site. And and using that work to inform where the landscape might go in the future, where the erosion leads to, how that will change water courses, how that will affect nature, how that should affect, for example, building plans on the site for houses and this kind of thing, or around, anywhere near the site. And then feeding all this information and what we I count myself in this because I have been learning what we've been learning essentially from all this approach, and feeding that back to legislative bodies to actually inform them on how to to maybe think about policy, especially. And actually one of the big things this year has been in the wake of Brexit. There'll be new rules probably coming in terms of how landscape is managed. And if a unified or certainly an integrated approach can be found that ties land use and the fact that people have to live in a landscape with protection of various sorts in a way which is sort of harmonious and actually is productive, then surely that's got to be worthwhile. So yeah, the REFIT project is an interesting one. I'll put a link to it below in the video description, and it's it just struck me today. It's interesting. It's an archaeological project that's trying to avoid archaeology. So there you have it. That's what I'm up to this weekend, and tomorrow is a public open day on site. So we'll be grabbing footage with the public and trying to gauge just how effective some of these learning opportunities are in terms of landscape, community, history, so on and so forth. But yeah, it's definitely been good, and I'll be returning home on Tuesday morning. So returning back to Mrs. Soup and Archaeo Soup Towers, and obviously I can't wait. Anyway, as I say, it's been quite a hot day, and I need a shower before I go down for dinner. As ever, guys, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.